Welcome to Midwest Paranormal Presents Paranormal Soup. Wow, we're having some problems tonight. This is your host, Jason Bland. We're going to working on getting our guest on. Sorry, we're running late tonight. We're having some connection problems with him, some audio things, but we're going to get Stephen on. Our guest is Stephen Marshall. He's an investigator from Texas. He's worked with Katrina Cooper and Rhodey Speak, who we might have Rhodey on, and I don't know. We got some great evidence to show from him and his investigations in places like the Texas killing fields, which we've talked about on the show and showed evidence before. So I'm excited to have him on. This is what the show's about. It's having paranormal investigators on and their evidence. And we got the World Wide Web of Weird that we do every Sunday night. So be with you in just one sec. All right, welcome to Paranormal Soup. Back again on Sunday night NFL football. I'm really disappointed the Patriots won. I'm sorry if you're a Patriots fan. I am not. I always root against them. So I'm a bit sad. That sucks. Oh well, but yeah, I know. Tonight, we're working on getting our guest on. We're having a little bit of issues, but we will find a way to get Stephen on. This is his first show. He's trying to get on. First time he's been on. So we're trying to get the Google Hangouts, the mystery of the Google Hangouts figured out. Yeah, we had trouble. He couldn't hear us. We could hear him, but he couldn't hear us. So we're working on it. Even if I have to call him on Skype or get him on the phone, we will get him on. But we figured we'll go ahead and get the ball rolling and go ahead and get into the World Wide Web of Weird. You guys ready? We got Jamie D in the panel, and we got Rob Autry. Nobody else has joined, right? Yet I can't see the screen. I think we got you two, right? That's it. And Jeffrey on the video. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get the World Wide Web of Weird rolling. All right, tonight on the World Wide Web of Weird, we're going to start off with an escaped tiger terrifies an Italian town. I've had these weird dreams of escaped animals lately, so I guess that's why the story interested me. I don't know why, and it's one of them was a tiger once, and it was a terrifying dream. So I could only imagine waking up, looking out your window, and seeing a tiger lurking outside. Not cool. I also saw a video of, look at the tiger. He's just a little kitty. He plays just like a little cat. He's playing with a cardboard box. I'm like, yeah, but you go up there and mess with that tiger, he might bite your head off. All right, so residents of the Italian town of Monterey were fearing for their lives over the weekend after a massive Bengal tiger was spotted roaming the streets. You can find this on Coast to Coast AM. This monstrous feline had managed to escape from a traveling circus that was visiting the town. Clearly relishing this state of freedom, the tiger known as Oscar found little resistance as it explored the main streets and back roads on Monorail. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but upon learning of the tiger's antics, police were dispatched and shut a local highway, as well as ordered denizens of the area to shelter in place. I'm sure nobody fought them on that. Fortunately, authorities were able to put an end to Oscar's adventures without incident by building a makeshift cage around the animal and coaxing it into custody. The chilling scene could be an eerie precursor of what's to come this summer when the legendary Barnum and Bailey Circus shuts down and subsequently releases a wave of unemployed clowns into the wild. No, I don't think they're going to do anything like that. They talk about they shut down Barnum and Bailey's, and of the reasons is because of the dislike of many people nowadays of these circuses and the attention they're getting for animal mistreatment and, you know, these scenes. And I loved the circus as a kid, but are they taking care of the animals? I don't know about this circus. If they let this one escape, that sounds pretty bad. Luckily, nobody was hurt, and luckily they didn't have to kill the tiger, because I hate that. I hate that. Like that one zoo where those people antagonized that tiger, and that tiger got out, and I think it was a tiger, was a lion, I can't remember, and they ended up putting down. I hated that. I was so mad. Just like the ape they had to put down. So Hermby, you know, it's awful. All right, number 2 here. We got another one from Coast to Coast AM. This one, let me see. This is Sri Lanka astrologer arrested for bad prediction. A self-proclaimed soothsayer in Sri Lanka, and I know I'm butchering that, has been arrested for predicting that the country's president would die. Police took, and I'm really going to butcher this, Vijayatha Rohana Wajimini, I totally no way in close to that, I'm sure, into custody on Tuesday after he had posted multiple online videos forecasting the demise of the president, Mrithrapala Sirisena. I'm nowhere close. I'm sure. Unlike in the United States, astrology is well regarded by Sri Lankans who use the purported predictive technique to provide insight into important life decisions. As such, name I can't pronounce, so let's just say the predictor here. Proclamations were seen as no laughing matter to authorities, since they raised suspicions that the troubling stalemate were a potential indication of an impending assassination attempt on the president. Therefore, in a fascinating look at the legal system of Sri Lanka, the astrologer was arrested once the prediction that the president would die at some point before January 27th failed to come into fruition. Incredibly, Wujimini, however you say it, was charged with making false predictions that could mislead the public, meaning that the unfortunate astrologer suffered double humiliation of both being wrong in his prediction and now maybe going to jail for it. Psychics, tarot readers, and other visionaries here in the United States probably need not worry about a similar law springing up in this country, since that would likely create more prisoners than even the notorious American prison system can handle. I love that. In a bizarre coda to Wujimini's tale, this is not the first time he's run afoul of the world leader, as astrologer spent 2.5 years in prison for attacking the Prime Minister of India back in the 1980s. Yeah, he probably got in the most amount of trouble because he made the prediction that their own president was going to be assassinated. You know, if you're a medium in this country, you might not go to jail for making a wrong prediction, but if you start going around on multimedia outlets saying that the president's going to be assassinated, you are going to get a visit from the Secret Service.
Yeah,
for sure. I mean, you say that on... You get on a radio show and you say that, not only do you do, the host does, everything. I know when Art Bell used to do his shows and he would have his predictions for the next year, his New Year's show, he would always tell his listeners, don't call in with an assassination prediction, because I don't want the Secret Service at my door. All right, next up we got a UFO. This is from a blog spot. I don't know what the website is on this one. UFO sightings. What is this? Well, it doesn't tell me the website. UFO sightings hotspot. That's the website. Bright UFO in the sky over Colima, Mexico. Turns into many spheres. This is a long video. I know Jeffrey might have fast forwarded through some of it that I don't know. It's like 12 minutes long. And you hear the audio, which we're not going to play, is a Hispanic lady talking about what she's seen up in the sky. And you might want to go. And for people, again, if you're listening on the DNGN radio network, this is a replay. You can always find these videos if you want to check them out later on the World Wide Web of Weird playlist on the Paranormal Soup YouTube channel. Please subscribe. You always can get an update of what's going to be on the World Wide Web of Weird if you subscribe, because it'll let you know when I post new videos to that playlist. UFOs in the sky over Colima, Mexico turns into many spheres for the 4th time in a row. The same bright spherical object appears in the same position in the sky over Colima, Mexico. But this time something strange happened, and suddenly as the UFO turns into 7 spheres, one of them moves downward, another 3 fly upwards, and the last 3 seem to make a geometric figure. And according to Eliza Izzi, who recorded the spectacular sighting on January 31st, 2017. That's all they have on this. Now, I've watched the whole video. It's hard to see on here. I suggest you go and watch it. You can see some of the patterns it's making. It's a long video. There's a lot going on. It's 12 minutes, which is long in the viral sphere of videos. But they do make some weird movements and patterns and stuff. I don't think it could be a drone, the way the coloring is being white. I don't know. I don't know what it is, or it's just all fake. I don't know.
Some of the turning angles, like when it's turning at you, looks like it's still all lined up, and in pers, and like to
Yeah,
scale.
yeah, no, definitely. All right, we got this one is another one that came from Coast to Coast AM. This was a Bigfoot print found in UK forest. And for people to know why I picked Coast to Coast AM, one, I'm a fan of the radio show, but the reason I do is they always have really short articles. Like they whoever writes for them is great because they take somebody else's article that's way too long and narrows it down to the brass tacks. Bigfoot print found in UK forest. A puzzling footprint discovered by a man walking his dog in the forest near the English city of Manchester has led some to suggest that it could have come from the legendary Bigfoot. Jim Silverson, I'm totally butchering that, noticed the weird, seemingly four-toed impression in some mud while visiting an area known as Kenworthy Wood. Stumped by the strange discovery, which also seemed to have come from a barefoot and mate have possessed lengthy claws, he thankfully photographed the print for posterity. Since there's nothing near the print in the photograph to show the scale, Selveston says that his own foot easily fits inside the impression. As to whether or not it was a sign of a Sasquatch, Selveston, God, I don't know how you pronounce this name. It's Salveson. Salveson. Expressed skepticism over such a scenario, but did note that his dog often seemed distracted by something in the woods when they walked there. Although British Bigfoot researchers have picked up on the print and have proposed that it could have come from the creature, any hopes that it could solve the Sasquatch mystery are almost certainly in vain, as we've seen from the countless plaster casts produced here in America. Nonetheless, until a wildlife expert can suggest an animal that may have produced a print, we'll give Bigfoot the benefit of the doubt and hope that he's also hanging out across the pond. And I posted on Facebook about open lines topic, and I almost considered that one tonight if I didn't have a guest, was the killing Bigfoot thing. My mom suggested that. We talked a little bit of that with Jim Harold, but we might do an open lines on that. Or I'd like to have somebody like Jeff Stewart or somebody into Bigfoot on here to discuss their opinion and my own opinion on trying to kill Bigfoot to prove Bigfoot. It's an interesting subject. All right, let's see. What we got up? This one's other ones came from Coast to Coast. But this is a ghost one. We're going to be talking about ghosts tonight with Steve Marshall. Hopefully we can get him on. This was a Civil War ghost photographed in Virginia. A family in Virginia believe their home security system may have captured an image of a Civil War ghost lingering in their living room and frightening their dog. It's always the poor dog. The intriguing photo was allegedly taken when Tim Weltley was visiting his parents' home to fix their computer. He later received a phone call from his mother saying that something strange has been spotted by the security system that it's set up to watch their dog. Indeed, the photo from the Weltleys, there appears to be a burly. Well, hold on. We got Steve. And we got Echo. Hold on a second. Steve, mute yourself for a minute. All right, he's muted. Hang in there with us, Steve. Let me get through the World Wide Web of Weird, and then while we're doing the World Wide Web of Weird, I want you to check your audio settings, because if I'm getting echo, that means it's not coming through. It's still coming through your speakers, I would think. Check on top of your settings. Check your audio output devices. You might have to select the actual headphones as an output device. That way we don't hear ourselves coming from your end. So check on that. We're going to continue the World Wide Web of Weird, and we'll figure it out. All right, so where was I? Indeed, the photo from the Weltleys there appears to be a burly, somewhat transparent figure hovering only a few feet away from a seemingly unaware Tim, who looks to be checking his phone. However, it looks as if the anomaly was noticed by someone else in the room, as the family's Cocker Spaniel seems to be giving the ghost an inquisitive look. Since their home is located in a part of Virginia that saw heavy combat during the Civil War, the Weltleys speculate that apparition could have been from that era. And while the possibility exists that the image is a well-crafted hoax, the apparent interest in the oddity from the Weltleys' dog makes the standard skeptic suggestion that the ghost is a photographic anomaly sounds rather suspicious. And that's what I love about it, is the dog's reaction to the ghost. It might be hard to see on here. Like I said, you can check these out on Coast to Coast AM, but it looks like, it could just be an anomaly and the dog just happens to be looking that way. I don't know. It'd be interesting to know if the dog acted up at all while he was there. It is an odd picture. I don't know. I don't think it's a hoax. It could be a misidentification. All right. This next one comes from the Mirror. This is mass possession. And we've talked about this on the show. I don't know how many mass possessions we've done, but we got another one. Mass possession grips Jamaican school this time. A concerned mother in Jamaica claims her daughter has been possessed by a demon and says that several children at her school have also been attacked by the evil spirit. In an unsettling video, Audrey Smith, easy last name to say, And a companion attempted to exorcise the demon from her 11-year-old daughter as the child thrashes about and shrieks. We're not going to play the audio from it. You want to go watch it, you can, but it's just shrieking. Okay. Smith contends that the 6 other children from her daughter's school have also become afflicted with a strange behavior. Members of the community believe that the mass possession was conjured by a nearby construction that inadvertently unearthed a number of graves. According to Smith, strange events began happening since that time, including a teacher who tried to determine what was wrong with the children, and when questioning one, felt a disembodied hand grasp his neck. Although Smith and parents in the area may believe that the odd events are the work of the devil, experts will no doubt suggest that the multiple possessions are actually just a case of mass hysteria gripping the school. That's what they said with the last 5 or 6 of these we've had on the show. While they may be the case, it's likely to be a little consolation to the parents of the children overcome by the unnerving transformation. For their sake, we hope that the solution to the stranger fits can be found sooner rather than later, since raising a teen or tween is already difficult enough without a demon in the mix. No kidding. But, we've done these. We've had so many of these over in 2016. I don't know how many of these mass possession articles we did, or videos. It just seems to be these, countries not, I'm waiting for it to somehow happen in America. If it happens there, why can't it happen here? I know their cultures are different. Like you said, everybody there is spooked. In this article, they said because they dug up some graves. And everybody, that's a bad omen. Here it'd be like, oh, that's sad. That's business in America, right? It's happened so many times in America. They've relocated graves. Nobody bats an eye. And it does lead to hauntings, though. We know plenty of paranormal investigators have seen evidence of that. So they might be onto something. Now, possessions, I don't know. Or is it just these kids trying to get out of school? Do they got Facebook in Jamaica? I bet they do. And I bet they've seen the other countless articles and videos of the mass possessions and how they shut down the school and everything. It's like, hey, kids, we want a week off of school. Start spitting out green pea soup and, saying God's going to do, saying horrible things about a crucifix going into another region. No. But maybe the kids are trying to get out of school. I don't know. All right. So this next one, these next 3 articles are things that make Jason squirm. If you notice Steve here if you saw the picture for the posting, Steve here, when you get a chance to talk to him, had a snake wrapped around him. I have a ungodly phobia of snakes. And as you see, as they play in this is from CNN. We're not going to play the audio. You can see the CNN report. But this first one is about a girl getting a snake trapped in her ear. This is from Unexplained Mysteries. She had a piercing, and I love it. There's Samuel Jackson, of course.
Enough is enough. I have had it with these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane.
That's how I feel about snakes. Woman gets a snake stuck inside her earlobe. Yes, Ashley Glaw ended up in the emergency room after her pet snake got stuck in a rather peculiar place. Glaw, who's from Oregon, claims that she had been playing with her pet ball python Bart when the adventurous reptile slithered up to her ear and poked his head through her stretched earlobe. She really wasn't paying attention to Bart if he was able to do it that way. You see snakes, they seem like they slither slow. I don't know. But of course, then to me, they don't slither slow enough. The snake quickly managed to get itself hopelessly stuck and stuck with Glaw, unable to free him. It all happened so fast that before I even knew what was going on, it was already too late, she said. Photographs taken in the emergency room of her bizarre predicament soon went viral on social media and have since been viewed by tens of thousands of times. Fortunately, though, with the help of a small incision, some Vaseline, and a bit of perseverance, doctors were eventually able to free the snake from her ear. If I was a doctor, if that was my profession, and that came into my emergency room, I'm like, yeah, not it. No, yeah, you do it. I'm not doing it. I'm not touching it.
I gotta say, I've had ball pythons. I've had over 300 of them at one time, and I have big ass holes in my ear, and that has never happened. But I did put a snake in my ear one time.
You're nuts. Why is it all my best friend here in town? Rob, you're my friend in Florida. My best friend here in town has pet snakes. Why does all my friends have pet snakes, and I'm deathly terrified of them? All right, another one here. Another one.
Enough is enough. I have had it with these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane.
Yes, Samuel. We know, Samuel. We know you've had it with the snakes. This isn't on a plane. This was out of a damn toilet. I've had enough of mother effing snakes in toilets. How many of these have we had on the World Wide Web of Weird? This has got to be number 5 or 6, I think.
I got a snake, man. Yeah,
you think I'm gonna sneak me? Yeah, that's a great Adam Sandler skit. I know I've said before, but ever since I was a little kid, Porky's 2, I've been scarred ever since they put that damn snake in the toilet to their damn gym teacher. It scared me ever since a little kid. Ever since I saw that, I've always checked before I sat down. And this house, they did, I think, Texas home is invaded by 24 rattlesnakes. You got it. A quiet residential property in Albany turned out to be the home to 24 diamond head rattlesnakes. The nightmarish situation began when young Isaac McFadden came face to face with a snake that had slithered out of the lavatory after somehow navigating its way through the pipes in the floor and walls. When the boy's mother arrived on the scene, she proceeded to attack the creature with a spade before calling a snake removal business to come and take the remains away. So she killed the poor guy. Not really. I would have killed that sucker so quick. When Nathan Hawkins of Big County Snake Removal arrived at the property, however, he found a further 23 diamond head back rattlesnakes, 13 in the cellar and 10 more under the house. Oh my freaking God. Seriously. Oh my God. Oh, this peculiar species, which is one of the deadliest in the United States, has a tendency to congregate during the winter, which is why there's so many of them built in the building. Fortunately, though, the firm was able to remove the reptiles safely and without harming them. I wouldn't have cared. It's getting that F out of my house. Would never live. I'll never forget first time I went camping with me and my wife. We went camping in Red River Gorge, Kentucky. I almost had a heart attack when I ran into a rattler. It was like 5 feet from me, striking distance. And I was taking our garbage back from another site. I was by myself and I threw that garbage bag. Yes, I littered. Sorry, Mother Earth. I littered. I threw the bag at the snake and ran for my life. And you can ask my wife. I looked like I was going to have a heart attack by the time I made it back to our campsite. And I never went back for that bag of trash. Sorry. Mother Earth had to take a hit for that one. The other things that make Jason squirm, we're almost done with World Wide Web of Weird here, but the other things that make Jason squirm, we talked about this last week with the lady who liked to lick eyeballs to heal them, is yes, eyeballs. I can't stand anything near my eyeballs. And this comes from the Express UK. Yeah, this is a Pakistani boy's eyes. If you have a problem like I do, I can't even look at this right now. Pakistani boy Eyes Odd Record. That's a horrible title for it. A teenager in Pakistan has found fame thanks to his bizarre ability to pop his eyes out of his head to an unsettling degree. Able to extend his eyeballs by nearly half an inch, Ahmad Khan has amassed thousands of fans. Seriously? Dude, I'm such a fan of the eyeball popping guy. Where's your next concert? You can go up.
I'm gonna pop out. I'm not gonna put it back in.
Thank you. Fans of his online via his video showcasing the strange skill. He's only got one trick, people, and it's unnerving. The Pakistani Peter Lore says that that he discovered the ability to it by accident last year and soon turned it into a proverbial calling card by accident. Okay. Khan claims that the eye stunt, as he calls them, do not hurt but can cause his eyes to water when he performs for too long. Despite concerns expressed by his ophthalmologist, the boy insists that he was given the gift from God and thus feels certain that they have some kind of divine protection. Oh my God. No longer content where mere internet fame, Khan is now eyeing the world record for such a feat. Which steadily actually exists and is held by a Chicago woman who bests the boy by 3 millimeters. Seriously, they measure that. That's like a record.
That would be a badass party trick, though.
Oh no, I'd be done if I was at his party. I'd be done at the party. I'd be walking out. Nonetheless, Khan believes that he could easily capture the title, boasting to one media outlet that I can break her record anytime. I can do it. Whether the teen's bold statement is the arrogance of youth or the confidence of a champion remains to be seen. Yeah, no. Okay, we can leave the poor eyeball guy alone. All right, one last thing. If you saw, I'm a big fan of Heather Wade's Midnight in the Desert, and this was posted on Midnight in the Desert. And I posted, "Hey, Heather, are you going to talk about this on Midnight in the Desert?" And she responded, "Not yet, not until the files are released." And that's a good way to look at it, but I'm going to talk about it. I understand why Heather's waiting, and as good reason to. This is WikiLeaks documents reveal Apollo program was a fraud and moon landings never happened. There was something on YouTube a year ago where they said WikiLeaks was going to come out with this, and that Snope article that somebody posted on my Facebook, that's what they're talking about. It's from a year ago. because there was somebody out there posting it. WikiLeaks never said anything about it. This is supposedly Kim from WikiLeaks this time. New documents scheduled to be released this week, but I haven't seen anything yet, by Julian Assange, founder of WikiLeaks, could reveal the damaging information about NASA's Apollo program, believes experts. Who are the experts? Julian Assange, who has lived at Ecuador London Embassy since June 2012 in fear of being extradited to the United States to face espionage and conspiracy charges arising from the leaking of thousands of secret diplomatic and military documents by the U.S. Army Private Chelsea Manning, has announced that he will release the incriminating evidence that the government of the United States of America and NASA has hidden the truth about the Apollo program and the lunar landings for more than 40 years. These documents, this is quoted as from Julian Assange. I'm still waiting to find out if this really is quoted from Julian Assange. These documents reveal the true reason behind the Apollo program's deception and how this all played out in the Cold War strategy of the government of the United States at the time. Julian Assange, WikiLeaks founder. That's quoted as him saying that. The documents are said to have been handed to the WikiLeaks founder by a retired high-ranking official of NASA that has worked within the government for over 45 years, Assange told reporters. This was from World News Daily Reports, where they got this originally from. That's all there is to the article. I also saw a friend, Sandy, and I don't have the video for it. She posted a video on my Facebook of the International Space Station and them two astronauts with the NFL 51 shirts. And the whole video's purported purpose was, how did they get the shirts? The mission to the station was December 9th, before we knew who was going to be in the Super Bowl. Or like, one, either NASA knew the outcome of the Super Bowl before anyone, or two, NASA sent up all the jerseys that could possibly be of the teams possibly going to be in the Super Bowl, which would cost actually a lot of money because per weight for the mission, like we're saying, like $9,000 to $40,000 per weight. And then number three, or did they fake the ISIS feed? Was it fake? Because they even show like a little green screen. Well, guess what the actual answer is out of options 1, 2, and 3? It was number 2. NASA sent up all the shirts. They sent up all the shirts. There's so many articles out there that people like, did NASA fake the moon landing? Does NASA fake? Are they not even up at the International Space Station? I've been a fan of NASA since I was a kid. And do I believe they've been honest with us? Hell no. I do believe they've cut the feed of the ISIS International Space Station when a UFO goes and does a drive-by. And I definitely think there's things on the moon that those astronauts saw that they don't want to, they can't tell us about. But I think we went to the moon. I do. Maybe we faked some of it. There's possibility. I'm definitely open to the possibility. But of course, once I posted that, I had a billion people posting like Snoop stuff and saying, "Oh, I went to the moon," blah blah blah, and other people like, "No, you don't know." I think there's evidence for both. Who knows? Maybe it's a little everything. Maybe they went to the moon and faked some stuff. I don't know. It's an interesting topic. We should get a guest for it. I don't know. All right.
Went to the moon. Maybe not necessarily as soon as they said we did.
And that's it for the World Wide Web of Weird. So hopefully here, Stephen, we got your audio situation fixed, I'm hoping. Are you there, Stephen? Try to unmute. Let's see where we're at with your audio. Hopefully he hears us. That was our problem before. He couldn't hear us. Hear us? Try to unmute. Let's see where your audio is at, Stephen. You're not unmuted yet. Got to unmute. You're not unmuted. Oh,
can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you, but we're getting the echoing.
All right, I had to get a headset from the store, and it's got noise cancellation on it. If I turn the noise cancellation off, would that work?
Try it.
All right. Give me 1 second.
But I don't know why we're hearing ourselves. If he's got headphones on.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure that out myself. Hold on.
Jamie had cheap headphones before. Or something like that. I don't know where you record. It wasn't cheap headphones. Record or something. That's hard for me to talk because there's.
Can you hear me now?
I hear you. But the problem is I hear myself 2 seconds later.
All right.
I'm hearing like a repeat. And my voice is repeating.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to be able to fix this, I don't think, because there's no settings on my phone for this.
And you still couldn't get the computer to work.
No, my computer actually crashed completely.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
You got Skype on your phone?
Yes, I do have Skype.
I want you to unplug your headphones for a second.
Okay.
I hear you. And now the echo's even louder. All right,
Okay.
plug in your. Oh, it's hard to type. Plug in your headphones. Nope, still doing it. I was hoping it was going to solve it. Yeah, I think it's just bad headphones.
Okay. Is this going to work on Skype?
Let's try. I'm going to call you on Skype.
Okay.
Hang up. I'm going to call you on Skype.
All right, but
Hold with us, audience. We're trying. We had a number of backups tonight. I don't think it's going to matter what app we do, sadly, because I think his signal is just too delayed that we're getting the back feed. So let me try calling him. Let me see if Skype is any better. Sometimes Skype has echoing stuff.
Make sure you didn't have like the YouTube window open or something too. Maybe, I don't know.
I don't think so. YouTube would be even more delayed. Usually. No answer. Let's try again. You there, Steven?
yes, I am.
All right. Test. I don't hear echo.
Hey, it's working.
Okay, it works.
All right. You can turn your video off. Do that. Turn your video off because nobody sees you. You're on my phone into the mixing board, but they can all hear you.
All right, cool.
All right. Well, at least we got you on. There's always backups. I told you we'd get you on some way or the other. The only thing we're going to have a problem with tonight is that I'm going to have to try to tell you what pictures we're looking at. And so you can tell.
Well, that's the great thing about my wife having her phone, because she's watching Paranormal Soup on it right now, and she's sitting next to me, so I can see the pictures that are shown.
Now she has the audio off, right?
Yeah, she has the audio off.
All right, good. I was hoping. Rhodey said she might come tonight. I don't know. I gave her the link. I don't know if she's going to join. I don't know if I haven't checked chat room to see if she's in there. But if you are in the chat room or listening, Rhodey, you're welcome to jump in. You were on some of these investigations. So you're welcome to jump in and join the Hangouts. You're welcome anytime, honestly. So how you doing tonight, Steven?
Not too bad. How are you?
Doing good. I'm glad we got you on.
I am too.
I didn't get a chance. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right. Well, I'm very good friends with Rhodey and Katrina Cooper. I've been into the paranormal at a very young age. I was actually, when I was a child, I was able to feel a lot of things and hear things and see some things, and other people couldn't. And it freaked me out as a kid. And when I would try to explain it to people, I just kind of got shunned and called names. And so I kind of closed off to all of it off. And when I was in my 20s, it started coming back again. I had an experience that happened to me that I almost passed away, and I had to be brought back. And
so
after that, it just kind of started kicking in after that a lot more. The feelings and hearing things, not so much seeing things, but the feelings and hearing things. And at 24, when I was living in Connecticut, I got the opportunity to go have dinner with Ed and Lorraine Warren.
That's amazing. In the paranormal field, to get to have dinner with Ed and Lorraine Warren, you're talking about having dinner. I mean, I don't think for a paranormal investigator to sit down and have dinner with, you're talking about there's nobody other on the top than those two.
Yes, you're absolutely right. They still do it. I think Lorraine still does it, or she has somebody that works for her that does it. But you pay a certain amount of money and you go have this really nice dinner at their house, and they tour you around their museum to show you everything. And while we were having dinner, Lorraine kept looking over at me. And we finished our dinner and we were going to tour the house, and she came up behind me and she put her arm through my arm and pulled me aside and asked me, how long have you been able to feel and hear things? And I was shocked and got kind of teary-eyed, and because I didn't really talk about it to anybody. And I've said for a very long time. And she told me, you don't have to be afraid of it. Embrace it, because it's just going to continue on. And it did. And after that, I really, really got into going on investigations and really going with my feelings on things. And then I moved down here and I met some people that were involved in a group. And that's how I met Rhodey. And she became like a second mother to me.
She is, doesn't she? She is like a second mom to me too. I swear. And I've never even met her physically in person, but she's like my second internet mom. Her and Katrina.
Oh, I will tell you right off the bat, both of them, when you meet them, when you see them in person. But Rhodey is just amazing. Like she has so much energy.
Oh, I know.
And she's so good at what she does. And so I met her, and then I met my fiance Lane. And she was into the paranormal too. And I was able to have an outlet to talk to people that weren't going to judge me for things that I said. Because usually when you talk about stuff, like you have feelings of things, people kind of look at you as like, yeah, whatever, you know? And this is actually, like I told you online, this is actually really good for me, because it's really the first time I've talked about this publicly to anybody else other than
I feel honored I get to be the guy to pop your show cherry.
Yes,
I like
yes,
to
you
put
are.
It comfortably. And for just so people know, you are seeing images we're going to show tonight. I did trying to get Steven on. I forgot to add these into my palette, so I'm doing that right now. So everybody's getting a little preview of the pictures we're going to talk about tonight. So just so the audience knows, that's what's going on right now, because I got trying to get you on. I forgot to put these in here, so that's what I'm doing. So, so tell us a little bit about investigating with Regina and Rhodey and what you've been doing in the paranormal field.
All right. Well, I'm not part of a group. I've been lucky enough to be a guest with two paranormal groups. One of them I can mention because I have permission from them, and I did go on investigations with Pasadena Paranormal. And they were just a great group.
Which we had them on the show. They are awesome.
Yes. Kristen is just a phenomenal person, and she is so nice. And I just thank her for allowing me to be a guest with her to go on an investigation. The other group, like I said, I can't mention because I don't have their permission, and I won't do that.
Right.
But most of the time, the investigations that I've gone on have been with my fiance Lane and Rhodey, and a friend of ours named Deborah Johnson. And we just kind of go out and do our own thing. We'll go to cemeteries. We'll go to all these places that we can whenever we get a chance to. And that really led to the Killing Fields.
It's such an ominous title to it.
Yeah. And it go ahead.
I was going to say, can you give us a little background on the Killing Fields? I know you got a big story, but just give us a little tidbit. Yeah,
the Killing Fields is a 25-acre plot. At least the area we were at, there's numerous places that they call the Killing Fields, even a place in Louisiana they call the Killing Fields, but it's this 25-acre plot off of Calder Road. It's about a mile from I-45 in Texas. And what it was from the mid 70s till the early 2000s, it was a body dump that serial killers would use. And there are over multiple serial killers. And they had found over 30 bodies of young females that were killed in that area. And the night we went, I had found out about the Killing Fields the day before, and all I knew was the name. It just sounded ominous. And we were very excited to go, and we had gone to a slave cemetery there first to do an investigation. And then our friend Deborah said, well, let's go to the Killing Fields. And we drove down to the Killing Fields, and we got into this parking lot. There was a small Baptist church. And when we got out, that's when I had gotten this weird overcoming feeling that was kind of pulling me towards one area. Deborah had said, I think the area we need to go is on the other side of this church. And I had looked over to the right into the field, and it was completely dark, couldn't see anything. And I said, no, I think we got to go over here. So we walked I'd say about 80 yards into this field, and we came into an alcove of trees, and the excitement was gone, because all you saw were yellow ribbons and names of girls' bodies that were found, and cenotaphs that said Jane Doe and all kinds of different names. And we all just kind of took a moment.
Do you know how long the killing fields go back to? Like the oldest body found there, like their estimated date? I
think one of the first ones that were found were, I think 1973 is when they started finding them. But the killing fields they also have a legend background where there was a set of an Indian tribe that was sent back there at some point, and they became somewhat cannibalistic on each other. It's just, you can't really find too much on it,
right?
Other than the murders that happened there. It's just legends that you hear about. But yeah, we got in there, and it was very surreal, and all of us were pretty quiet. And we did a quick prayer circle, and we began our investigation. And my wife, Lane, and Rhodey had gone off with each other, and I went with Deborah, and we were walking around, and me and Deborah were walking towards a cow patty field. Mm-hmm. And I felt something behind us on this tree stump. And I told Deborah, we got to go over here. And I was getting this really strange feeling. And while that was happening, my wife and Rhodey they had this cement block chair where people can go and sit, mm-hmm. just to reflect family members that go there often to see to see the cenotaphs and everything.
Right.
And they were sitting there, and they had a flashlight set up on it. And they were asking if anybody was there, if any spirits wanted to talk. Can you make the flashlight go on and off? And the flashlight started to turn on.
So it's a flashlight test where it's,
yeah. Yes. And while that was happening, my wife starts yelling at me and Deborah to come over there. The flashlight's turning on and off. And that's when it got really intense. I remember they actually have, Rhodey and my wife have on a recorder. It's about 30 minutes long. That's why I couldn't send it to you, because it was just way too long. But I remember my wife saying, hurry, Harry, come here. The flashlight's going off and on. And I just started saying, yeah. And I started losing it. And it's such a weird feeling, because that had never happened to me before. I was overtaken. And I could actually feel this poor girl being murdered.
And this is like what Lorraine told you, said you had a gift.
Yeah. And I could feel her being murdered. I was seeing the color blue, but it was very hazy, and I couldn't make out faces, and everything in that field turned to daylight for me. Like I was seeing almost through, like I couldn't make out the face of who was doing it. All I could see was the color blue. And I was trying, from what they said, I was trying to go through this one area of the woods that were there, and I couldn't go through it, and they were trying to stop me. And I came walking back, and that's when Deborah had taken the pictures of me with the infrared camera. And you can see my wife Lane standing in front, and I'm over to the left-hand side, and I'm coming in real blurry, and there's something touching me on my back. And our friend Deborah, they were like, and Rhodey was sitting there saying, Steve, can you get a name? Can you get a name? And I started saying, Lori, Laura. The girl's name is Laura. And I was crying, and I was apologizing to the girl. Mm-hmm. I remember saying, I'm so sorry, honey. I don't know what to do. I'm so sorry. And that's when they had gotten those pictures. And then Deborah had asked me, did you get a last name? And I couldn't really make out the last name, but I said I think I said it started with an M, and it wound up the only girl there that was killed named Laura Miller.
Wow.
And she was 16 years old, killed in the 70s. And her father is actually Tom Miller, the guy who created Texas EquiSearch. And
well, I say that when you talk to that really resonates with me, because my one experience where I've seen a lot of weird stuff, and I've had other mediums tell me, yeah, you have something, you could, you're definitely open and can communicate with spirits. And I held a picture of somebody who had passed away and blurted out out of nowhere, his name's William, goes by Bill. And then everybody's like, oh my God, the owner of the house goes, that's the name. I haven't even told my girlfriend that. She's like, they're like, what's the last name? And I could just like a whisper in my own voice in my head. I could hear it,
Yes.
And I almost had it like to the, I was like, it's Eiler. Eiler is like, and he's like, it's Eisler. You're really like, that's so close, so I know that feeling, like that connection. And now for me, it frightened the hell out of me. I didn't want to do it again.
Yes. I feel the same exact way. It scared me a lot because I had no control, and I had never seen, it was almost like a vision, and I'd never seen that before. I've never experienced that before.
I do have to interrupt both of us on this because I'm getting some weird stuff in the chat room right now. People, a few of them, Jennifer, I see, who else? I saw Lori. They're hearing voices now. Jamie, Rob, are you hearing anything? They're saying they're hearing some kind of whisper in the background.
I am hearing a little slight something in the back.
I'm not. You know how much I have my audio boosted usually to hear stuff.
Yeah,
but it's only here and there.
So they're hearing stuff. Well, I will be interested to replay this episode. It's happened on this show before. Usually with Katrina sitting in the panel. I think every time with Katrina sitting in the panel that we've gotten audio through. I mean, Rhodey. I honestly think the message Rhodey got on the show, on the ITC Collective show, from her friend that came through.
Right before he just said it.
Actually, my wife just came out. Our friend's in the living room watching online on the computer. I guess he got it back up, and he said right before you interrupted and said that, he heard whispering on the computer.
And he heard this noise, and he goes, "Well, that's you that made that sound," and she said no.
Yeah. Are you hearing me, Jason?
I hear you. No, I'm hearing you. I'm just listening to you guys.
Yeah, they all just came into the garage looking at me like there's voices on the computer.
I don't hear any other feedback or
we aren't hearing it all. Whatever people are hearing.
Actually, they're saying it was almost like in our house.
Oh.
Yeah.
Turn on those EVP recorders.
This isn't an ITC Collective show, Spirits. We might have to get you back on for one of those shows, though. I think we might have to. Well, you know what I am hearing? You know what people might be hearing? I think I might have, because I just heard it a second ago. The whispers you people are hearing, I might have a debunk on it. Because remember before we got him on, how we were getting that feedback so loud and stuff? That was coming from Google Hangouts. He's on his phone, okay? And what it's doing is, even with those cheap headsets sometimes get their signals mixed up. I think what you're hearing, everybody, the whispers, is the feedback audio.
Aha.
I don't know what
that might be.
Skype has a anti-echoing feature built into it, so it tries to cut that out. So now it's more like a whisper than it was loud, like you guys were hearing before. That's why I went to Skype, because I know that Skype cuts that stuff out as best it can. But I think that's what people are hearing. I'll listen to it after the show, but I'm almost 100%. That's probably what people are hearing. I don't think it's paranormal. So we're going to continue on. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but this stuff's happened on the show. I want to make sure, but I think that one's explainable, because I just heard it a second ago in my ear myself. And it's really light. If it's in the background, it would sound like a whisper. So I'm so sorry to interrupt you on that, Steve, but I had to stop. I've seen people ask me to stop. All right. So we were back. Let's get back to the killing fields.
Okay. Yeah, I was taking the picture, and it was like a vision that I was having, like I said, where I could see this girl really being murdered. And we wound up, my wife was sitting there and Rhodey was sitting there, and they were asking, can you turn the light back on? And it wasn't going on. And I said to Laura, I said, go ahead, sweetie, and turn it on. And as soon as that happened, the light went back on. And then I said, go ahead and turn it off, honey. It's okay. And the light went back off. We wound up ending our session there, and we sat down at one of the cenotaphs that actually said Jane Doe on it. And we did just kind of like a closing prayer, you know, and just kind of trying to see if Laura would go to heaven, like leave that place. Right. And we thought afterwards, we all felt kind of really good, and it lightened up a lot, and we wound up walking back to the car, and I had driven there. So I got back in the driver's seat, and I was really out of it. I looked at my phone was looking at some of the pictures I had taken, and pictures popped up on my phone that had been deleted a year before that weren't even on the phone I had at the time. They were on a different phone from a trip I had done in Galveston, which we were kind of close to. That was a little weird for me. Yeah. And a picture of Peter Venkman from Ghostbusters showed up and said, "I want you." And that kind of freaked me out too, because I had put those pictures on a different phone, not the phone I had at that time. Well, we left, and I had just about got home, and Rhodey called my wife and said, "Where are you guys?" And she's like, we're almost home. And Rhodey said, "You got to get home now because there's something touching Steve's back." And they had gotten those pictures that I'd sent you.
Let's show that. So it's the one where it's touching your back. We've shown this on the show before, I believe, on one of the either the Pasadena one or one we have with Katrina or whatever. Or it might have been one with Katrina and Rhodey. So let me get rid of my lower third too. So let me get that off of there. Here's one picture. It looks like, this is it. All right. So you're seeing there. It's off to the edge for people to see. It's off to the left of you, and it's like an arm, like grabbing you, touching you on the back. This is when I first saw this, I was like, "This is incredible." I'm gonna see if I can. See, if I zoom in, sadly, it takes away the arm, so I can't really zoom in on this. Yeah. But if people can see it, I mean, it is an arm touching your back. Oh, there goes my screen. Let me go back to my playlist so we can go back to that. Let's look at that again. So, what was when you finally got to see this picture? I mean, what was your thoughts?
I got in the driveway and I freaked out. I totally freaked out. I don't think I slept that night. And the next day I woke up just feeling the killing fields overtook me for about 2 weeks. I couldn't stop thinking about it. I had to find everything I could on it. I had to do something. And we always say that we're going to go back to the killing fields, and we always want to. And I get excited for it. And then I get that feeling of, I don't know if I want to go through that again. But I think what really validated it for me, they had a group about a week later that went, and they had gotten a picture of something touching one of their people's backs. And a few months after,
I can't remember. Let's say, was that where Jill got her picture too? That she had something around her.
I believe so.
Yeah. I think that was so. Katrina can confirm that or not.
Yes. And then Katrina actually validated it for me even more, because when she had gone, she had made contact with what I believe is also Laura Miller. And she said that they had been, that there was two people, mechanics. She thought they were mechanics, I believe. And that they had strangled her by putting a bag over her head. And when she said that, it really clicked in me, because mechanics usually wear blue jumpsuits, and the bag over her head would have messed up her vision enough where everything would have been blurry.
Wow.
And I had sat there and said, I can't really make out who the face is, but I can see blue. I can see blue like flannel almost. And it was just real blurry. So when she said that, I was like, yes, this was a definite thing. Like it's really, that was the hardest thing I think I've ever had to go through.
I've had, Judy, that's on the Paranormal Soup team on an investigation, have a moment kind of like that, where she seemed to be taken over. I mean, it did it for like a minute or so, where she was totally paralyzed and doesn't even remember it happening. And like her whole attitude was weird that night. She doesn't even remember the rest of the night. And that she had to take a little break, You know, it affected her.
Yeah.
And me, for me, I've had instances. I always approach investigations as not a psychic or medium, but not to say though things have happened on investigations where I know I've seen something not everybody else is seeing. And like I said, I've always tried to just not go with it because I'm not going to be a medium on an investigation. You know, I'm not against anybody doing that, but I don't want to invite that in. I guess I'm not ready for that, you know? I'm not ready to find a picture of a ghost touching to my back. I'd be excited. I'd be like, wow, because I've never even gotten a really good ghost picture. Nothing as good as this. Nothing at all, honestly. I'd be excited, but I'd also be a bit worried because I've had that dark oppression by an entity, you know, and I've had stuff follow me home. My wife wards the house to make sure stuff doesn't. That's why I'm only allowed to do ITC collector shows once a month. But I know that, you know, when you go on investigations, I've had people ask, and one of the number one questions I have asked as a paranormal investigator, I bet you've gotten this too, is like, you know, aren't you scared when you go? And my answer is no. No, I'm not. And that's not being bravado. You know, that's not me being like, oh, I'm not scared of nothing. No. It's just, I've had so many experiences since all my life with this stuff that I'm a little immune to it, but I am human. I will get freaked out. You know, if I saw a picture like that, I think I'd be freaked out. For you, have you had these experiences all your life, you think? I mean, was this something you had childhood experiences?
Yes, the furthest I remember, I think I was about 6 years old, and my mom was a single parent, and she had a babysitter that took care of me, and I would spend the night at this family's house quite often, and my grandfather would go to, I called the lady my Nina. He would go to her house and sit in a rocking chair when I was a little kid, and he would take care of me and all that other stuff there just to visit. And he passed away when I was about 5 or 6. And I think it was around 6 years old. I remember walking into the living room in the middle of the night, all dark in my Nina's house, and looking out the window, and I saw my grandfather staring back at me through the window.
Wow. Now I'm getting a little noise on your end. Are you messing with the cord a little bit, or is it getting jiggled?
Yeah, I think it did. I'm sorry about that.
No, it's all right. I just want to make sure we can eliminate it. People don't think we got other voices coming in through the show. So, you know,
I have had that a lot. I've had a lot of feelings going into places. And like I said, when I was a kid and I'd tell friends or something, I'd get made fun of. So I just stopped talking about it. And in my teen years, it kind of went away in my teens. And I think that's because I just did so much with my friends and going out and partying like a teenager does, that, you know, it just kind of went away.
I think it's that way for a lot of people. We were talking about that Rob Boutro on the show, or Gutro, sorry, butcher our names. He was saying, you know, he had experiences as a kid, and it went, you know, kind of went away in his, you know, teens and 20s. You know, didn't have until later in life. He really did. I think that's a way for a lot of people. Even me, with all the weirdness I've seen, I had stuff. Well, people knew me in high school. I did get distracted by girls and being in a rock band, but I was still doing the paranormal thing. I was still seeing stuff. I was 17 when I had my dark encounter. So I guess I was a little bit of the exception to the rule. But I think for most people, that is the case. They hit that teen area, and it's like life takes on other interests. It's not till later in their life that it opens back up for them. I hear that all the time.
Yes. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I have things here that happen at the house too. There was actually, it was probably about 2 months ago, where I was laying in the bed in my room, and my wife came in with my stepdaughter, and my stepdaughter was trying to tickle me, and my wife showed her to tickle his foot, and she did that. And it was all fun, and they went to bed, and my wife went out in the living room, and I'm laying there going to sleep, and everything in my room's dark, and something went on my foot and raked straight up like they were tickling it. And I got up to kind of yell at my wife, and there was nobody in the room. It was just me, you know. And I've seen things standing at the foot of the bed, shadows. Katrina was here, and she gave Lane a reading, and she said that she felt presences around the whole area around here. So it is. And I do have things sometimes follow me. I had one in particular that actually followed me for quite a long time. I was up in Kenner, Louisiana. I'm a truck driver,
Okay.
And I had to take a load from Houston to Kenner, Louisiana, and I would spend the night at this place every night I was doing it for about 6 or 7 months, every other night. And when I was there, the police kept showing up because it's a gated area. I had the code to get in, but the alarms in the building were going off.
Oh.
And they couldn't figure out why. And they would ask me if I saw anybody, nothing. Well, one night I decided to take a recorder with me. And this is unfortunately the EVP I couldn't get to you, the one that wouldn't go through. And all I did was sit in my truck. I turned it on for 2 seconds, no noise. And I got this seriously awesome Class A EVP that said, "I love you."
You know, let me see if I can play. I could play it off my phone, but sad thing is I have you on my phone now. But I do have it in my Dropbox. I think it said it would play it. I don't know if it will. Let me see. Let's give it a shot. Let me see if I can play it. Now, there's going to be a little echo for the panel for Rob and Jamie. You might not want to talk while I'm doing this at all because it'll echo you because I'm about to play my own computer audio. But let me see if I can get Dropbox to work. Let me see. Because I put it in there. So there we go. Let me see. Let me see if it'll play it. Oh, I gotta turn the audio up. No, it might not be. Hold on. No, it's not playing it. Darn it.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got it to work off my email, but it wouldn't play on here. Damn.
Yeah, I did. I tried to do the same on my phone when I was sending it to you, and for some reason, it was playing it as a video, and I just could not get it to turn to a WAV or MP3.
Because I got to listen to it. It worked off my email when I played it second time you sent it to me. I don't think it will. If I lose you, call me right back, or I'll call you.
All right, no problem.
I'm gonna see if it'll let me play it. Hold on.
Okay.
You might not hear it, but they might.
Okay.
All right, I might have to turn it up some. Yeah, it's playing now. Rob, Jamie, can you hear it?
Yeah.
I hear it.
And I hear I love you. I'm gonna play it one more time.
I hear I love you.
Yeah. Are you still there, Steven?
Yes, I am.
Were you able to hear that at all?
No, I
didn't think so.
Didn't hear it, but I've listened to that so many times. I play it all the time on my phone.
I didn't know if it'd let me play that audio with you on here at the same time, but it did. Hey, that worked. Learn something new every day. Yeah. But to me, that's it's for people who are hearing it now. It's probably really quiet because I can't really boost the audio while I had him on here without affecting that. But I hear it. Class A EVP. I love you. For sure. I
think that's the best one I've ever gotten. That's the best EVP I think I've ever gotten. And that actually, like I said, followed me for a while. I was, for a few weeks after that, I was really down in the dumps and nothing was going good. And I was living with someone who was in a paranormal group, and he invited the group to come over and sage the house. And I got really angry. And I said that I didn't want to do it, and they made me do it. And when they were trying to sage me, I was telling the person to get the F away from me.
Oh, wow. That's not good.
They had, they had a recorder going, and they got that same voice, and it said, "You can't help him." That was it. Yeah. And then here, when I moved here with my fiance, Lane, I was on the truck over the road, and she was sitting outside, and we have these huge bay windows that you can see inside the house. And she said she saw a woman walk from our bedroom to our daughter's bedroom, and our daughter wasn't home. Nobody else was in the house, just her. And I said, "Well, go in there." And she said, "You're crazy. I'm not going in there." And I said, "Well, what did it look like? Describe it to me." And she said, it was a woman who looked like she was soaking wet, and just wet, long hair. And I said, "Well, that's what they had told me was following me, was a woman who had drowned in Kenner."
Oh, wow.
She had drowned in the bayou behind the storage facility that I was at.
It's probably good you don't see her.
Well, there's been certain things that people have said in the house here that they do see, and they've never had that here before until I moved in. So whatever it is that's in, it does follow me. Yeah.
I know that experience. Do you believe it's gone now though, or?
There's times that I do, but then there's times when it happens, when I get the feeling, somebody once said I do this dance like the Rain Man, where I'm moving back and forth and I can't seem to pick up my left leg and move forward. Like I know that there's something there and I can't do it. I get a tingling feeling all over. Oh. It happens here sometimes, and then sometimes it doesn't.
It sounds like you're channeling something, or I mean, sometimes that can be good. Sometimes, I mean, it's not controllable. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, now some of the other. You want to move on to some of the other pictures?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a picture that I sent you. There's a couple of them that's actually got Rhodey in it, and my wife Lane. Okay. It was at the Ott Hotel. It was actually an investigation that Katrina had put together.
And yeah, we've talked about the Ott Hotel before, and some of the amazing pictures that she's gotten from there and experiences. Yes. It's amazing. So I got a picture up right now. I think this might be like the set of 3 or 4 pictures you had.
Yes, this was the first picture that I took in the room. We were completely in the dark. There were no lights on yet. And I took this picture actually with my phone. And then the next set of pictures, the next one that pops up you'll see Rhodey, but right underneath her shirt where the picture is for the spirit that she has on her shirt, you'll see like this mist.
That's this one. This one. I think I got it up now. It's like a little mist under her logo.
Actually, no, that one, if you look, you see that blue dot?
Yeah. I had the blue dot.
That's an orb.
Yeah.
That's the orb that formed after the mist.
That's the form. Okay. And then the first one's the mist. I'm going to go to the mist first.
Yeah.
So, those mists like that to me are weird. They're not like your typical, like could be dust or orb. If Todd was on here, I'm sure he could come up some options of what it could be logically, but they are weird. They do appear in some of these photos that I don't think are totally explained. So you had that. And so it was just taking a series of 3 pictures right in a row, basically, or?
Yes.
And then you had the orb. Now it's not your typical orb. It's
not. And the lady that actually is the caretaker of the Ott Hotel, she had pictures showing from other investigations that were there, and they all got this really strange orbs that were this way. They were blue or green, and if you actually zoom into the orb, it's got incredible texture inside of it. It almost looks like the Death Star.
It's about as much as I can zoom in it because it puts it to the corner of the screen.
Oh, okay.
It only lets me zoom in so much. But it does look like the Death Star. I do see it. Oh, darn it, moved.
Yeah.
Oh, let me go back. My thing likes to take off without me here. There we go. But yeah, I can see the total Death Star thing. It looks like the holographic Death Star when they bring it up on.
Yes,
it does. But I know the logical explanation for colored orbs can be dust or lint, something in the air that says a color and it's reflecting the IR, but it is weird. And if other people are getting it, the chances of that happening multiple times like that are not that great. Not inside. Well, outside, yes.
Yes, and the really cool part about it is if you look at the left side of the orb, you can see Rhodey's shirt through it, but you can also see my wife's shirt. So it is pretty much translucent.
Oh, yeah.
But it was... The Ott was a really cool experience too.
Now, do you have? I have 3 other EVPs. Any of those from the Ott?
Yes, those are all from the Ott.
They're all from the Ott. Okay. Do you have any other pictures before we move on to the EVPs? Any other pictures from the Ott?
There was one other picture from the Ott. You'll see there was a group of people that were sitting down in a living room.
I think I know.
And I had just been able to take I just took the one picture because the lady that was sitting in the chair was the caretaker of the Ott. And there's a coffee machine right in front of me. Yeah. But if you look, there's this really strange looking mist that goes all across the room.
Yeah.
And there's no smoking in there or anything.
Yeah. Of course not. Yeah, it is
Yeah.
odd. I don't know what could cause that. I'm not the photo guy. Todd's missing out. He's been taking care of his grandmother who's been really ill. So sadly, we haven't had Todd for the last few shows, but it'd be good to get his opinion on this one. I don't know what he'd say. He's open to being possibly paranormal, but he always can come up with good explanations for stuff for photos. So you got to look at both sides, But to me, it's odd. It's really odd.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really interesting how that appeared.
And unfortunately, that was like the only picture I took because that was just their living area.
Now, what were some of your personal experiences while you were at the yacht?
Well, while we were there, this is something that's kind of interesting too, because we had gone there with Katrina, and when I'm around another medium, especially one like Katrina, the ability that she has, it's so strong.
Oh yeah.
I do not have any senses at all. I it's almost like I can just feel her strength that she has, and I can't sense anything else. But when Katrina left for the night, me, Rhodey, Lane, and a couple other people had spent the night at the Ott. We got a room there, and we were doing our own investigations. And when she had left the building, I started getting these really strange feelings. And one of the feelings was of this little girl that was there. I can't remember the name that Katrina said the little girl's name was. I don't know if it's Lucy or I'm sorry, I can't remember her name.
She's still in chat, so she might catch it and throw it in.
Yeah.
I'll let you know.
But we had heard,
Abby.
and we were in the room where we took Abby. That's it, Abby. And we had taken pictures in the room that we were in, those pictures that you have with the orb. And we could hear what sounded like somebody running down the hall.
Oh, wow.
And we opened the door and there was nobody there. So we pulled out these dowsing rods, and I had sat there getting the feeling that it was a child. It was a little girl, and she was playing. She wanted to play. And when I would ask, can you point the dowsing rods to Lane, to Rhodey, to the other ladies that were there, it would point right to everywhere that I was asking. And I had never used dowsing rods before. That was the first time I ever used them.
Isn't it a weird feeling?
So, yeah, it really is a strange feeling.
It is.
But we had gotten that, and then we had gotten the EVPs. So I don't know which one you're going to play first.
You can tell me what you want to play. I can look.
All right, there's Mrs. B's room, or it says Mrs. B that I sent you.
Yeah.
That I was with Rhodey, and or you can hear Rhodey saying, when she says back up a little, you'll hear a woman's voice that says, "Oh yes."
Okay, I'm gonna play that EVP now.
How hard is right in front of you? That's what I asked. I can't even see. We're seeing just his chest. Back up a little bit. Yes. Right here.
Is it the
yeah? Yeah, the whisper. The whisper. Oh yes.
All right, let's listen to it again.
Okay.
How hard is right in front of you? That's what I asked. I can't even see. We're seeing just his chest. Back up a little bit. Yes. Right here. How hard is right in front of you? That's what I asked. I can't even see. We're seeing just his chest. Back up a little bit. Yes. Right here.
It's like the ghost is like, oh yeah, back up.
Yeah. Yep. Oh yeah. The next one is the barbershop.
All right, so what's this EVP?
All right. This barbershop is actually the room that me and Lane spent the night in. They converted it into a room, but about 100 years ago, I believe it was the barbershop that was in the hotel for salesmen that would come in and stay there. The train people off the trains, coming off the trains and everything there.
Yeah.
This is actually me and Rhodey in the room, and she was doing a spirit box session. And you hear this really sadistic kind of laugh almost.
Okay, so that would be Barton, we got it.
Tell me your name. Who you are.
That sadistic is definitely creepy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's play it
That
again.
was creepy.
I know. I've listened to these already. I've spoiled myself on this one. As everybody knows, I'm a connoisseur of EVPs, so I love this stuff. All right, let me play it again.
Tell me your name. Who you are.
Like they're playing a joke on them or something, or think some. I don't know how to take that.
Who you are.
Sounds like a laugh that come out of a Pink Floyd song. Something, like, losing your mind, It's creepy. That is creepy.
Oh yeah, I love that one. And the next one is called Lucy's Room.
Okay, that's good. What's the
All
background
right,
on
in this one, everybody that's listened to it, they say they hear good morning. But I think I hear something different. Like I said, my fiance was there with me, Lane, and everything. And this recorder was actually in a room by itself. And you can hear Rhodey and some people talking in another room. And then you hear this little girl, which I think could be Abby. And it sounds like she's saying, "Good evening, Lane." But everyone says that I'm not right on that. It's good morning.
Well, we'll let the audience decide. Hold on.
Yeah.
You probably shouldn't have even said what we should have left this one open because I hear good morning.
I thought I've heard this one before somewhere.
Probably on this show because some of this stuff has probably been played when Rhodey and Katrina were on.
Okay.
Yes.
But yeah, I hear good morning, buddy.
Okay, that's totally fine because I just want to be sure.
Game.
Yeah, exactly.
We should have played it the right way though, where you didn't tell us either one of the options and then see. But I still think I would have heard good morning. I think when I first listened to this earlier today, I thought it was good morning. Let's play it one more time.
Yes.
And the chat room verdict is good morning.
Good morning. That's totally fine. That's fine.
That's what happens. It's the EVP game. I've had EVPs where I'm sure it's saying this, and I bet other people are like, no, it's saying this. I'm like,
exactly.
It's the EVP game. It's the Class A's. That's where you judge the Class A's. The Class A's, nobody ever disagrees. If you would give up on what you think it says, and you were to go along with the good morning, I think you'd have a Class A there. Because to me, it really does clearly sound like good morning to me.
Yes, and that is totally off of Rhodey's equipment. So that is Rhodey's EVP. She was allowing me to share it tonight.
Thank you, Rhodey.
Yes, thank you very much, Rhodey. I love you.
It's like when I'm sorry.
Oh, there's a
like
little.
when
go
a
ahead.
child wakes up, and they're like, "Good morning," and they're ready to go get their cereal and have breakfast.
Yes.
Like the first eye wipe of the morning.
Yes. I now that you've put it that way, I agree.
I want to Rhodey is in the chat room now. She said she tried Skyping in. Well, the problem is, Rhodey, you can't Skype in. At least not on my line, maybe on the Soup live chat, but that can get kind of laggy the longer you're on it. I did send you a Google Hangouts link in your Facebook Messenger, Rhodey. If you want to join us in the panel, you can. But the Skype line is taken up because we had to get Steve on there because we were getting too much echo. So that's why the Skype can't get me on Skype. Anyways, so to me, that could be a Class A. If you were hearing good morning too, everybody else, I would call it a Class A because everybody else is hearing good morning. The true test is for you to play it to people, and we should have done that and not tell anybody and see what they say. I think everybody would hear if you didn't even pre-position it as good morning, they would hear good morning because that's what I heard when I played it earlier today. I was like, it sounds like good morning. So that's a pretty good EVP.
Yeah.
Yes,
I love
it's very
EVPs. So what other photos did you want to go to?
Okay, there is the Lavaca prison.
Okay, I got a prison bar, so I'm guessing this is it with a red circle around it.
Yes, the red circle. Now, this one I'm not too sure about. I wanted to send this to you guys so I can get your opinion on it. It could very well be matrixing, but what it was is that this part of the prison was the woman's section. And I don't know how much you can zoom in on that.
I can't
frame,
because it's off to the corner.
Okay, because to me it looked like it was a woman's face, kind of like a mist, a woman's face. That's why I sent it.
Even without zooming in, I can kind of see it. It could be matrixing. It could just be something on the wall. Let's go. We got another image here without it circled. It could just be something, that you don't see with your eyes so much on the wall, but the camera kind of picks it up and a reflection. Yeah. It could be. But I do see it. I do what you're talking. I see it. But like you said, that could be matrixing. It could be just the paint pigmentation on the wall, a little odd with the flash or whatever. Did you use the flash? Looks like it.
Yes, I did use the flash with
the flash can do that. It can pick up little patterns in walls and stuff like that, and paint pigmentations and look like that. Oh, there's your autograph. When is your autograph? Ed and Lorraine Warren. That is awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, it can pick up pigmentation out. What was this jail? Tell us a little bit about this jail.
All right, this jail is over 100 years old. It's down close by me, down here by Houston, Texas, that we went to, and it was really the jail. There was a prisoner in the jail that was actually trying to think what hospital. A woman was killed inside of a hospital. He was the murderer, so they brought him here in Houston. I think it's Yorktown, or I can't remember which hospital it was. My wife had gone to it. He was housed in this prison. There were prisoners here from over 100 years ago. Mm-hmm. It was just a really cool place to go and investigate. And actually the next pictures are part of that prison too. The ones where you see the scratches on my back.
Okay. Yeah, we got this. So what's the story of the scratches? You got scratched.
All right. Yes, we were there, and we had gone into a room where the police officers, that their area that was part of the prison. And we were sitting in a room, and I speak Spanish fluently. And some of the prison. Yeah. Some of the prisoners that were housed there were prisoners that had committed crimes, but they were from Mexico. And so I started kind of provoking in Spanish and just asking questions in Spanish and who's here. And they had a name.
Man, you make me wish I was bilingual.
Well, all of a sudden, my back started burning.
Oh, yeah.
And I lifted up my shirt, and when we went outside, these scratches had appeared on my back. And there was one person there who did what any investigator would do, and he tried debunking it, and he said, "You could have scratched yourself." And I said, "Well, let's go back inside, and I'll do it again." And I sat there in front of everyone, and I told him again. I said, "All right, my back's starting to burn on this side of my back." And he lifted it up, and he's like, "Okay, I can see scratches appearing there."
We had Tony Pickman on, from the Sally House. Yeah. We talked about the scratches and the way they, you want to talk about somebody getting scratched.
Yeah, he got it good.
A lot of the times, really violent. But, I talked to him about the ghost scratch experience I've had with other investigators having it happen, and that in my time when I was listening to the, I always forget the name of the girl's case. The demonic case is famous. I can't think of it. And how I got scratched. It's weird because you said the burning. It's like that cat scratch burning feeling. How long were those scratches there? Because for me, I've seen other people, it seems like they go away pretty quick.
Yeah, they weren't there. They had started to dissipate and go away by the time we left the place.
Yeah, that's what I seemed to notice.
It really seemed to only happen for maybe 20, 30 minutes. and then they would start to go away. Mine scratches were not deep at all. You could just see they were kind of like,
they look pretty bad
just
though. I mean,
red
they look. I mean, they're pretty. I mean, I've seen other people try to take pictures of scratches. They feel it. That's there. I can see with my eyes, but they're not. It's not that red, and it's hard to get a good picture of it. These are pretty clear. I mean, you can see you were scratched. You can definitely see it, and actually, you know, the way it is in your one part here on your body, you would have to wrap around your other arm to do it. Like you'd have to go back around, you know, like that and scratch yourself pretty good to do it.
And I was sitting in the middle of the room, so I wasn't leaning up against the wall. I wasn't doing any of that. So there would have been nothing that I would have been able to scratch it against.
No EVPs in Spanish?
No, I don't believe they did.
I hear Rhodey's laugh.
Oh,
yes,
yeah. Hey, guys.
Hey, Mama.
Hey, honey. How's my boy?
Oh, I'm doing good. How you doing?
Good. Sorry I'm late. I was gone 4 days with 12 women. Got back this afternoon, and I kind of crashed for a few hours. So.
That's what I wondered.
Yeah. I'm old to be going away 12 women 4 days, but anyway, it was actually a retreat, but sorry to be late. So sorry.
No problem, Rhodey. We have a caller on the line, on the video Skype line, since the other line's down. How you doing tonight, Zach?
I'm doing pretty good tonight, Jason. Hey, Rob. Hey, Jamie. How y'all doing?
Good.
Good. How are you doing?
Apparently he's got it working in there.
Boss, so feeling bad about that, but
we lost some of what you said there. You clipped out a second, but so what's your question you have for our guest tonight?
I actually have a two-part question.
Okay.
I know you've gone on many different cases, and there's different categories for different types of haunting, like intelligent, residual, demonic. Have you ever came across a case that in a gray area there was no definite answer? And then the second part of my question is, can you be able to recount a case that you covered that you would consider residual?
The residual one, I would say, is the Killing Fields when I went there, because groups that had gone after me had gotten similar situations and stuff like that happened to them. So the residual one, I would say, definitely the Killing Fields. I'm sorry, I got to ask you one more time because I got interrupted. Could you say the first part of your question again?
Yeah. Well, there's the different categories there, but have you ever had that really there was no definite or category you could fit it in? It was, I guess you could say it would be in like a gray area. Have you ever came across something like that?
A gray area?
Basically, it's giving evidence that it's residual, and at other times giving evidence that it's intelligent. Is that what you mean, Zach?
I'm trying to think. I don't think I've ever come through like a real gray area.
What are you gonna say, Rhodey?
I was going to say Yorktown Memorial Hospital, and it was old Yoakum you were talking about a while ago, Steve. The nurse worked at old Yoakum Hospital, and her husband came and shot her, and then they housed him in the jail at Old Lavaca County Jail, where after he was sentenced to 99 years, he mysteriously was hung in a suicide cell with no sheets or bedding. It's very controversial.
How did he hang himself?
Anyway.
What did he hang himself with?
Well, he didn't. You know, this is Texas, and I love Texas, but we got some real redneck racists down here. He was black, she was white. This was in the early 90s.
Oh, yeah.
We believe he had help. My personal belief is that man had help, and that he was killed. That's what my belief is. Okay.
You're probably right on the money with that, I would think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Unfortunately, there's still some people like that in Texas. But
what I would say about your question, Zach, is that I think there's a lot of cases like that that fall into residual activity and intelligent activity all in one location. I think it's more often the case than not, because you might have intelligent activity, but because of being haunted in the atmosphere that allows intelligent activity to interact with people, it also allows for residual energy to be there as well, and for things to play back. So I think it's very common to have those kind of gray area. It's a little of both. It's not even a gray area, honestly. It's just, as investigators, we know it can be both at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. Well, that was pretty much the only question that I had. Thank you so much, Steve, for answering my question. Thank you so much, Rody, as well.
Thank you.
Thanks for calling in, Zach.
All right.
You have a great night, Zach. I see that. For me personally, that's always been my opinion that the two can go hand in hand quite a bit. The residual. Yes. You see TV shows, they try to say, is this a residual or is this intelligent? Well, I think a lot of times you see these investigators on TV shows still left scratching their heads which one it is on some of these cases, because it can be both. It can really be both. One really can lead to the other. I mean, I think there's definitely cases that are just strictly residual. You know, everything going on is residual, but intelligent cases definitely can still have residual activity going on quite a bit.
Yes.
Kind of dealing with
I agree.
Right now.
Longer I do this, I think there's residual everywhere, but especially at the old hospitals, Jason, you've got both, like you said.
Oh, yeah.
And all the residual from the pain, the suffering, the surgeries, giving birth, all that stuff.
Death, you know, all kinds of stuff there. I mean, at a hospital, I've always felt a hospital's a hotbed for paranormal stuff. I grew up in a hospital that's 100 years old. My mom worked there for 17 years, and I was there all the time as a kid. I lived across from it, and I felt that haunted activity in my apartment was coming from that hospital. So I think there's a little all of that in a hospital for sure.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
So, Stephen, tell us give us a little, any other, do we already go through the photos? I think you have some UFO stuff, didn't you?
Yes,
it's a Paranormal Soup show, so we got to throw it all in.
Yes, go ahead and throw that one in.
Let me lock the screen on myself here so you guys can talk, and it'll still keep the images up. All right, let me go to, oh shoot, I hit the wrong button. No. It's going to take me a second because my computer's going, no, wait, what are you doing? Here we go. Okay. Let me find the UFO pictures. Playlist. Okay. Oop, where's my playlist? That's the wrong one.
There's my daughter right there with me.
Okay. I have a number of pictures. I never got all these in the order you gave me. I had to load them in quick. So I don't know if you can see this when it pops up. It might be a few seconds for you to see it. I got a weird one here. It's blackness and some lights. I don't know if that's UFO.
Yes. Yes. Those are the ones, the black ones with the lights. I sent you white ones because I wanted to. I sent you the negative. Yeah, the comparison. Okay. I was driving at night. I was working third shift at night as a truck driver, and my run was going from here to Houston to Junction, Texas, to meet up with another driver from El Paso to bring his merchandise back to Houston. And I got I'd say I was about 25 to 30 miles away from Junction. And if you know anything about Texas, once you leave the big cities, it's dark. There's no lights. They don't have any lights on I-10 once you go past San Antonio. So there's nothing out there. It's just desert until you hit these little tiny towns. And I had this tractor trailer pass me. I'd have to say he was pedaled to the metal, man. He was just hauling ass.
Yeah.
He had saw something he didn't like, and he passed me out, and I just saw his taillights. And when he was gone, the road lit up. And I mean, it just lit up like there was a howitzer light on top of me. And I came to a screeching halt in that truck. I slammed on the brakes.
Oh, wow.
And I looked outside, and this thing was above my truck.
Holy man.
And there was no noise. There was no sound. And actually, if you look at the picture, you'll see that there's like a white dot.
I see it.
On one side. That's a star. That was a star that was way above it. And there's another red little thing that I don't know what that was. But this thing turned in midair as I had jumped out of my truck. This thing turned silently, and I got a couple pictures of it. And then there's some pictures I showed you that light's not there. The light is actually there. It shot straight up, And I mean, it shot straight up at a very high
It
rate
looks
of
like
speed.
something out of Fire in the Sky. I mean, that's what it looks
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
So the little lights you see is it up in the air?
You'll see, yeah, you'll see there's like a little white dot, that's a star, and then there's some kind of red looking thing at the bottom. I don't see, this is where it turned. And you can see that there was four lights at once, and then it turned and it was gone. And it just shot straight up.
That is crazy. I mean, these are your negative images of it. Yeah, I'm showing right now too. Wow, that is amazing. Amazing.
And it freaked me out. I got to Junction, jumped in the back bed of my truck, and I sat there in a ball waiting, hoping that the guy was going to be late, and he was right on time. He came about 40 minutes after I got there, and I wound up not leaving until the sun came up because I didn't want to run into that again.
Aliens
and I
come
just
to butt probe you.
Yeah. I called my wife when she got up in the morning. I called her, and I was in hysterics.
You didn't
I was
have
like,
any
"You're not
missing time, did you?"
No, I did not. And it was, as a driver, as a truck driver going over the road, because I've gone all over the country with my truck. I've been in almost every state except the Dakotas. You see a lot of crazy shit.
Oh yeah. Oh, my favorite. Everybody knows I've been a big Art Bell fan, and I listen to old reruns of Art Bell. And he would, I don't know how many. His main, I swear, was some of his biggest calling audience with stories were truckers.
Yeah,
they'd call in with ghost stories, UFO stories, Bigfoot stories, because these guys are out on the road in the middle of the night. I think when I think about truckers and the paranormal, I think of Large Marsh from Pee Wee Herman.
Yes.
Yes. That story, but truckers are driving the haunted road. I'm saying there's a lot of creepy places out there. So you're definitely putting yourself out there to have an experience, but this is some incredible, it's hard. Of course, it's the grainy, blurry, it's in the middle of the night. So it's hard to be a good picture, but you can tell you saw something. You can tell it was bright lights, and this was what you shot this out your window or?
Yes. I looked out my window, and that's what I captured.
Wow. nice ringtone.
Sorry about that.
It's all right. So, have you had any, were you ever interested in UFOs or anything like that before this, or?
Yes, I was. Like I said, my mom, I had such a great mom. Instead of her really showing me a lot of kid cartoons and stuff, my mom was a big horror fan and sci-fi fan. So I grew up watching Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Earth versus the Flying Saucers, and all the great old 1950s B movies,
Earth,
so I always
still.
Yes.
That's my mom showed me that when I was a little kid.
Yeah. And, I just really got into all that stuff, and I've always been into it. I watch all of the Ancient Aliens and UFO files. It's just, I love it. There's something out there. We're not the only ones.
All right. We got another caller on the line. We got Laura Lee, I believe. Yep. Laura Lee. How you doing tonight, Laura Lee? I just got to unmute you there, but.
Feel super sick. I'm going to say hi.
No.
I haven't texted since New Year's Day, but you know what? You guys have been Paranormal Soup withdrawal. I didn't care what was here tonight. Get a hold. By the way,
Lori, I love you. I miss you.
I know. I just sent you a message. Listen, Stephen, you know what? I am so glad you were on here tonight. I've actually connected with Rhodey and Katrina. I do have to mention, when you were talking about your experiences in the killing fields, I do know I'm an empath, but I normally do not get affected. I was when you were speaking about that. I literally could pick up that fear. I had tears going down my eyes, and my heart goes out to you for that experience. Rhodey and Katrina both have experienced the level of, haunting that we have in our house. That's Katrina, and she feels that this may actually be something of an alien entity. And I was just wondering, in your travels, because I've never had the chance to speak with you before, have you ever run into anything like that?
Alien wise?
Well, an entity that I know what she's trying to get at.
An entity?
An entity that isn't human, maybe not demonic, but almost alien. We mean Katrina have talked about
almost
this at
alien.
length. We've talked about this with my shadow person experience that it felt almost alien.
Yes, I've talked, or I've heard Katrina talk about her experience that she had in the elevator.
Yeah.
But I have not run across that myself at all. Most of the things that I'm able to pick up on, to tell you the truth, seem to be children or young spirits.
Right.
I've picked up on some adult ones at times, but most of the time it's young people. And I don't know if it's because of the way that I am. I'm a father, and I just absolutely love kids, and maybe it's just they can sense that, or something like that. I can't really explain it. It's difficult because, like I said, Katrina and you have these experiences, and how can I explain it?
Steve, I think you're an empath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Similar
All of
like
us
what
have-
you're feeling, Laura.
I have Jason seen many of the pictures. My husband's been thrown 15 feet from the fridge into the counter. We've been thrown downstairs. We've been bitten. We've scratched. We've been choked. Especially in August, we amped up. I actually had to call emergency message because I just didn't know what to do. It's almost killed my husband 3 times. I have a son with autism. He's woken up with burns on the back of his neck he didn't go to bed with. My older son can't stay in our house long than 2 days. He gets suicidal. And Katrina was the only one that pinpointed. And again, I do trust Rhodey and Katrina implicitly. And at first I thought, what the heck? But I haven't even had a chance to mention this. I was so fortunate to book a reading with Katrina December 23rd, and we talked about it.
Oh, awesome.
And the more she said, and it's including, she says she doesn't think there's anything that might be able to get rid of this, that basically the house that we're living in, that land was not meant to be lived on.
That's
so
been my
I'm still
feeling on it too. Everything you told me about what's going on, it really does sound like that, Laura Lee.
Yeah, that's why I asked you, Stephen. I call every week. I don't normally sound like this, and I'm sorry, but it's almost like a full-time job for me because it does not stop. And every time I talk to Debbie in the chat room today, I've talked to Katrina, I have talked to Rhodey. Rhodey's face was right up to the camera, and she kept saying, tell me you're filming this. She could see it'll pop up behind me in a Skype conversation. It's broken Jason's equipment when I've called in sometimes.
We don't know if it did.
Oh my God.
It might have. I don't know.
Well, come on, Jason. You know
It's happened twice. I know, but I don't know. It might have. It might have. I've been scared. I'll admit, I've been scared when you've called in.
Yeah.
Everything go blank right now.
Yeah. Shh. Let's not tempt fate here.
I did see it looking from behind the chair, Lori. When you, that's why I said, "Aren't you film? Hope you're filming this." We were on Skype, I guess, and
yeah,
I guess you were filming this. Yeah, it freaked me out. Yeah, it was, well, I'd never seen anything like that. I'd never seen anything like that before.
Yeah, Katrina had growling the whole time like you did, and today when I talked to Debbie, no headphones. There was screaming, there was laughing, there was growling, there was words. So this one has no problem going.
Oh, Steve, you got any deliveries to Ontario coming?
I know, right?
I can't get any help. This has been over 8 years, Stephen, of this. So I appreciate your honesty and your phenomenal guests. I'm so glad to see you, Rhodey. I'll get off in case anybody else wants to call. But thanks, guys.
I hope you get better soon.
Lori.
Yeah, hope you feel better soon.
So too.
Oh, you sound so sick. All right, get better, Laura Lee. Get some rest. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
So, doing all this, have you come up, are you wanting to pursue, become more, use your abilities as a medium, try to do that?
Yes, I do.
I mean, it sounds like you have a connection of some kind. You know,
I do have one, and most of the time it's a very, it's really, it's like an adrenaline rush when it happens. Like it feels, in a lack of better words, it feels almost alien when it happens. And I do want to pursue it. But I don't know what it is. That's what I want to find out. I don't know what it is, because there's mediums like Katrina who can speak to loved ones who've passed away. I can't do that. I can't see a picture of somebody that someone comes up to me and says, "Can you get anything off of this?" It doesn't happen for me that way. It's like I think it's just that feeling.
Well, I think for you and for me, unlike what Katrina has been doing this for a long time now.
Yes.
But for me and you, when we have our experiences, they're out of the blue. Like, you weren't trying.
Yes.
It just happened.
It just happens.
I think to get to that point, to do this stuff, Katrina, it's a commitment and training. And I think you could do it. I know I could, but I don't pursue it for my own personal reasons. But yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with just that focus and that training. For otherwise, it's going to happen when it happens out of the blue, and you never know. And yeah, I know that feeling. It is like this alien presence inside you, or in your head.
It's almost like something's jumped inside of you, and you can feel it all over.
Because I hate that. I don't like that. I don't like that feeling at all. It scares the crap out of me.
Yeah, it scared the crap out of me at the killing fields, and Rhodey was there. She saw what happened with me.
Did you tell them about that one, Stephen?
Yes, we discussed it earlier, honey. But yeah, it was. There's
crazy.
No words to describe what happened. It was crazy.
Or Rhodey, we showed the picture, and I'll put it up again for people here. We showed a picture of the entity that touched his back at the killing fields. To me, that's just, and we showed it on the show before when you were on. That's just crazy. Yeah, you can see the arm, and with the experience that you're having, if it was just a picture and you guys were out there and like, oh, nothing much really happened, but we got this picture, they're like, well, maybe it's an anomaly we don't understand or something. But with the experience that you're having there at the same time and getting this picture, to me, that all together, that makes it such an incredible piece of evidence.
Jason, if I hadn't known Stephen, if I hadn't known him for a long time, I probably would have thought like he's either was mentally ill or he was acting, because it was so dramatic. No, it was just it happened that quick. It was so dramatic, and he's all of a sudden like, if she was she can't breathe, and he's crying, and he's like, he's killing her. It took us a while to get him calmed down and back with us. And I know this is a good man, and that was all. I've never before or since been when anything like that happened, but then to also catch that picture when he's
I remember when you guys first were on the show and you talked about it. There's that sense of danger when something like that happens to one of your fellow investigators. I know when it happened with Judy, I was ready to, that's it, I'm done with the investigation. When one of my investigators is, to me, that's when the spirits have gone too far. Too far. No. I want evidence. I want contact. But when they start putting you in that position of like that kind of communication, uncontrollable, especially with somebody who's not a medium regularly, to me, that's where it gets dangerous, because these things, to do what it did, you feel like it was inhabiting you, right?
Yeah. And the effect it had on me, but also the effect it had on my wife, Lane. It was hard for her to see that happen to me, because she's never seen me that way. Mm-hmm. But going through all of that and knowing how I feel about wanting to kind of pursue what this is that happens to me, I'm going to go back to the killing fields.
Yes.
I'm not going to, I was afraid of it. I'm not going to lie, but when you fall off the horse, you got to get back on and keep going. And I'm just going to go. I think now I have more control a little bit more control over what happens.
This is what I'm going to leave my next. Are you doing anything? Because I know working with Katrina, I've been on a couple investigations with her, and with what happened with Judy, I know what she would say to you is you got to protect yourself before you go in.
Yes.
What are you doing now to protect yourself? This is good information for anybody else that might be having it, could have this experience.
Yeah, that I've tried to protect myself before, and like I said, this is something that I'm not totally completely used to, and it just happens when it happens. It doesn't happen everywhere I go. It doesn't happen all the time. It just happens. But there's a part of me that sits there and says, protect yourself. But there's a part of me that says, don't protect yourself. Don't close off the light and just go with it and see what happens.
Yeah.
So
I get that feeling. I do get that feeling. Like I want to pursue it. And I've got books, countless books on like how to enhance your mediumistic abilities. And I've experimented, but there's always that part of me that just stops from doing it. Cross that line. And for me, I really think it is because once you take on that responsibility, I think the floodgates open for these spirits.
Yeah.
Like they're going to want to try to use you to communicate. Are you ready for that?
I think I am. I'm the type of person where I do anything for anybody to try to help them out. I'm not a mean guy. I don't tell anybody, get the hell away from me or anything. I'm kind of I guess you could say I'm kind of a loner at times because I don't speak very much to people, unless they're people that I really know. But something about this, especially what happened with Laura Miller at the killing field, something about it made me want to do it even more. It made me want to try to help even more and really start figuring out how I can
Would you try
get this to happen and control it.
If you go back to killing fields with what you've already had experienced and maybe what you might experience if you go again, are you going to try to pursue getting any of this information, like the mechanics? That's pretty specific information to any kind of authorities that are investigating it, or family members or anything like that?
I had thought about that because it was mentioned to me that maybe, I should talk to Tim Miller and her father.
Right.
And I thought about that and I said, the worst possible thing in life that any parent could go through is the loss of their child.
Right.
And they probably don't want to relive that again. He's a great man for what he's doing. He created Texas EquiSearch and he goes all over the world now finding missing people and children. And he tries to solve these cases, but he wasn't able to solve the case of his daughter. And I wouldn't want to stir that up.
Well, this is why I get into the responsibility of going down that path. Now, I'm using you as an example for this. Okay. Because I think it's really important to decide, if you want to do this, because on the other end of it is that you were given a message. You were showing it. I think she gave it to you. I don't think that was residual. I think that was her. I mean, the picture, and with your experience, it really sounds like she was trying to show somebody what happened to her.
Yeah.
And you get to this point. This is something I've contemplated a lot with my experiences. It's like, if I went down this path, what would I do with it? I mean, do you just take it as it is? I mean, for me, it would seem like she would want that information passed along. But at the same time, like you, I would feel like I can't do that. I can't go to, I can imagine losing my child, not knowing what happened.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't want to be the person to come to them and say, I've spoken to your daughter. That's a huge responsibility,
Yes, it is. It truly is. And, I know like that. I know Katrina has done that a few times and I give her the utmost respect for that, because that's such a hard decision to try to make, and I think if I got more used to what happens and I learned more about it and I was more comfortable with what was happening to me when these situations come up, that I would probably get to that point too. But I have a lot of learning to do before I can get there.
Well, maybe if you go back to the killing fields, you'll take that first experience and maybe some new experiences. You might be able to put something together you could actually present to him one day. You could actually find a lead or something. It might take some time of your own investigating, into her case after you've gathered, don't do it until after you go again.
Yes.
After you maybe have another experience, and then try to do your research, dig into what happened to her. Who were the suspects? If that information's available, it might not be. But if that information's available and you can correlate it to what you've been shown and what you've, maybe even capture evidence wise, the next time you go, maybe you can go to them with some legitimate stuff,
Yes, and I know there was one suspect at a point that he truly believed was the one who killed her. He was the man that was living right next to the field at the time, and he pursued this guy so much that this guy wound up driving his golf cart onto the train tracks and committed suicide.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
and was this guy a mechanic?
Because everybody, no, he wasn't a mechanic. He was just an older guy, and the mechanic. That didn't come from me. Like I said, that came from Katrina, what she had said.
But it correlates. It correlates to your experience.
It correlates with everything that happened. Yes, it truly does. Like that solidified that night for me when I heard her experience there, because I was like, okay, I'm not losing it.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, what if she just wanted someone to know what she went through? I'm thinking just wanted someone to know it. Is that what I think?
True. Yeah, it's true. I might not want somebody to know it, but you always got to think, though, the main purpose of a spirit to make that kind of communication is they want their killers to be brought to justice for what happened. They want people to know what happened. They do want people to know what happened, but they want to make sure it never happens to anybody else, and these people are brought to justice. A lot of that's just my feeling on it, and that's why I said that's a huge responsibility. And so
yes,
I give you a lot of credit. For deciding to maybe try to go down this path and go back there again and see what you're going to do, because to me that's the one reason why I've never I've never crossed over into that area. I've just stuck as an investigator, not tried to enhance my own abilities, because I just don't know if I could ever do it. I don't know if I could, no matter what spirit could be standing in front of me telling me everything that happened, tell my dad, and I'd be like, maybe you should go to somebody else. That's why, because and then once you start doing this, you're gonna, if you go down this path, you hear it from mediums, countless mediums. Once they started doing these, they accepted it and they learned how to do it. That next thing you know, they got a lot of spirits coming to them, trying to pass on information. You see it fictionalized, but there's truth to it. I hear it. I've talked and now had a number of mediums on this show. It seems like you decide to do it, you're going to have a responsibility to pass on messages to other people. That's not going to be comfortable for you to do it. I know it. Katrina's a brave woman. I know she's gone up to people she didn't know at all and started telling them stuff. That's not easy.
Well, I watched her when we were going to the Ott. We went to a Whataburger. That was the first night I met her. I'd been friends with her on Facebook, and even when she said things to my wife here, there were things that were said that she couldn't possibly know. Like when I was a kid, that my father had burned me with water. Nobody knew that. No one. And she knew it, and recently she had gone to my mom and done an investigation with her and was talking about my grandparents, and that there was a guy on the ground kneeling, asking for forgiveness. And she looked at my mom and said, "This isn't for you. This is for your son, Steve." And she said, "This is Steve's father."
Oh, wow.
And I'd been looking for my father, trying to, for years. We couldn't find him. Nothing. I hadn't seen my father since I was a kid, little kid, like I was like 2 years old.
Me too. My father, last place he ended up was Texas, and he disappeared.
Yeah, see, last place we knew, he was in California, and he disappeared. And then after she said that with my mom, 3 days later, Katrina messaged me on Facebook saying, "Hey, your dad just wants you to know you're being a great father."
Oh, wow.
And then I was sitting with my wife, and I said, "There's like a cool breeze, like it's cool in here, And it was just kind of like on my left shoulder. And Katrina messaged me after that and said, "That cold breeze on your left shoulder is him touching you."
Oh, wow.
So she wouldn't have known that. She wasn't there. So the mediums are real. I think everybody has the potential to do it. We as a society and as a race have not really gotten the full potential of what we can do. We just can do a little bit so far, and I think some people like Katrina and other mediums, they can do it way better than we can. And it's almost second nature for them.
Yeah, like I said, though, you might be there one day, buddy. Once you decide to do it.
I actually hope so, because I think it is such an amazing thing to be able to do.
Well, thank you so much for coming on last minute too, because
thank you, Jason.
My guest, the original guest I had scheduled months ago, I think was one of those ones that saw an advertisement I had for show and thought, oh yeah, radio show, even though my advertisement says YouTube stream, more than once, and then decides to ditch out on me. So thank you.
No, thank you so much. And I want to thank my fiance and wife to be, Lane.
Yeah, thank you,
Ellison,
Lane.
because she is the one who contacted you and said, please see if you can get my husband on. So thank you, babe. I love you for that. And because this has been an experience I will take with me forever. Yeah, so I appreciate it.
And I always wanted to, and I've wanted to bring you on because ever since they had that picture we showed on here and your experience, I said back then, I'd love to have you on and talk about it, So
yes,
thank you. That we had a lot of great evidence tonight. I love the EVPs. Anytime you have another investigation with some evidence you want to bring on the show, let me know and we'll get you on.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that.
All right, guys. Next week, let me go ahead and get the exit music rolling here. Next week, or not next week. Well, next week there will be no show. Sadly, I have to work overnight, so I won't be a show on February 12th. But the next show is going to be. Let's see. It's going to be in February. It's February 19th, and it's John Pickstock. It's going to be about past life regression. He's a hypnotherapist. We're going to talk about his what he's learned from doing past life regressions on people. This is a very subject. I'm interested in all subject paranormal. Obviously, I always say, it's actually a subject I'm totally into. I'm into a lot, but this one I really, really am. I've had my own experiences. We'll talk about that night, and I've always been interested in hypnotherapy. I wish I could get it done. So that'll be February 19th, same bat time, same bat channel, 10 p.m. to midnight. We'll see you then, guys. Thanks everybody. Thank you, Jamie, Jeff, and Rob, and Rhodey. Thank you, Katrina Cooper, for sticking around in the chat room and helping us out. We got to get you back on the show again here sometime soon. And thanks to everybody in the chat room. And thank you, Laura Lee and Zach, for calling in the show. We'll see you guys next week, 10 p.m. to midnight, same bat time, same bat channel. Have a great night, guys.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Who won the Super Bowl? Anybody know?
Yeah, the Patriots. Whoa.
They won it? Oh, hell no.
Just when time stood still, my path so cross their will. Never found my fill. Approach the ancient hill. Watch above the path. Saw a peak at last. Worn and weary, saw so clearly I had come to I have just one request. I'd like to get the rest. I've traveled to the edge and distance. I settled for what was left. My consciousness expands, space and time at last. I see my soul depart. I found my last regret.
tonight's show was kind of the reason I started doing this show, is to have paranormal investigators on with their evidence. Because being one myself, I started doing my own podcast to show my own evidence. And I thought, why don't I do this so I can bring other people on and show their evidence? So tonight's show is why I like doing this show. To meet investigators, show their evidence. They don't have to be some well-known name. If you know an investigator has got some really good evidence they're sitting on, and they've never been on a show, tell them not to be shy. Get a hold of me. Come on the show. Let's talk about some EVPs they got. Even if it's just a few and their experiences. This is why I like to do the show. Everyday investigators giving me their evidence. All right, guys. Next week, John Pickstock. We're going to talk about past life regressions with hypnotherapy. I cannot wait. It's such an interesting subject. Everybody have a great night. See you next Sunday.